Welcome to Easter Movies with Friends. I'm your host, Greenester Bunny. This is day 1 of 3 Easter Movies with Friends. I'm your host, Greenester Bunny. That's right, I say it twice every time. And this is a friend, and this is the movie Critters 2. And this, my friend, Jen Apodaca of Mother Tongue Coffee. The founder, the creator, the mother of Mother Tongue.
The mother of profiles.
The mother of profiles. And she is half bunny. I am full bunny. And we are going to go full bunny on this movie, Critters 2. But before we do, Jen, what do you have here?
I have some wonderful coffee for us to enjoy.
Oh my God, did you make this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ooh, I'm ready for a transformation.
All right. Let me get you a cup.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have opposable thumbs.
Here you go.
Oh, for the camera.
All right. Let's see what you think about this coffee that we have for Critters.
Yeah, and you'll tell me about it after we taste it?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. All right. I hope you have your coffee at home.
Okay. Cheers.
Happy Easter. Is this where my mouth is? Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Lee. Lee, no, don't look at me, Lee. No.
Ah! Oh. Are you your true self again?
I think I am. I mean, I think I feel cooler than my true self right now. Perhaps.
I don't know about me. We'll see at the end of this. But I have now reverted back to Andy Greene and Jen Apodaca, as I said, and we are tasting the coffee that I didn't actually taste. So let's And so tell me about, this is called Kill KRITES, and that is what we're here to do. Kill KRITES. Kill the critters.
Kill KRITES. It's a calling that every true Critters fan knows.
Do you have a tattoo of that?
No, not yet.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And sorry to whoever doesn't want that to happen to Jen. I'm sure there are people like, no, don't do that.
Like, please don't.
But you have it on camera now saying that you are going to get a tattoo that says Kill KRITES. We're going to do it right after this. Cut to the tattoo. All right. So tell us about this coffee and well, I guess before that, the story of this coffee, I think the story of the movie came first.
It did.
So
absolutely.
Please, why are we here in Oakland? I'm in Oakland. Talking about Critters 2.
Well, Critters 2 is my favorite Easter pastoral film.
Pastoral. I like that.
You know, I mean, I feel like for a lot of us that like horror movies or scary movies, or even just terrible movies,
which this is not that. No,
this is a brilliant film.
Yes.
It has a really huge place in my heart. But I would say that, you know, like for Christmas we talk about Gremlins, and it's debated, but Gremlins is like officially the best Christmas movie. I mean, for me it beats Die Hard hands down.
Ooh.
Oh, big time.
No, I think Gremlins has more of a rewatchability to it, I think.
Absolutely.
Although Die Hard, I don't know. I'm a Rudolph fan, so it's
Rudolph. Yes.
I'm glad we brought up Rudolph. I have to bring it up every episode. And so Critters 2, you introduced me to this as an Easter movie when we first met on an IG Live, that you mentioned that this was, every Easter you watch Critters 2. And so that was one of the inspirations for why I was like, I wanted to do Easter movies with friends and include Critters, because I had never seen, when you said that, I hadn't seen the first Critters, and I hadn't seen Critters 2. And now...
Which almost breaks my heart.
Well,
you
saved my life, Jen. That's what I'm saying. And now I've seen them both twice, and my life is so much better for it. I don't know if I'm quite at the tattoo level yet, but we'll see.
You'll get there.
Lily, can I get a tattoo that says Kill KRITES on my butt? Right? That's where you get it. Or would it be on the chest? There's a lot of chest things in this movie.
I think if you got a giant fuzzy critter chest ball on your chest, that would be pretty amazing.
Let's do that. Oh man, this is so much fun. And okay, so this is the KRITES Easter blend, or just a seasonal blend, because
seasonal blend.
We don't want to, upset people that are anti-Easter or anti-holidays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, Easter is it's springtime.
Yes.
Eggs, fertility.
Ooh.
And that goes right into the movie, actually.
There's a lot of fertility. Ooh. You know what? I did use my alien communicate device, and Ugg is here!
Look! Everybody hunter!
But yeah, this is a very fertile film. What I wrote down after this was ooey gooey horny Easter movie. I think that's how I like to think about it.
Right.
So Jen, tell me more about the KRITES blend.
Right. Exactly. And what should a coffee that's named after a bunch of man-eating aliens taste like, except delicious?
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say men. Yeah.
Yeah. So this coffee has a really nice, beautiful Kenya to have a really bright acidity, and it also has a really lovely Peruvian coffee to give it that super chocolate Easter egg base.
And I definitely get the chocolate Easter egg base, and then but you can see how bright it is, and it's just a wonderful thing to have right now.
Yeah, officially I think the tasting notes will be chocolate Easter egg and new beginnings.
Did you see the butterfly that just went past? This is just gorgeous over here. It's almost like we have the budget of a Critters 2 film. Almost. And so Critters 2, 1988, my birth year. Directed by Mick Garris, who we all know from Stephen King's Sleepwalkers.
Yes.
Which, you're a B movie maven. Have you seen Sleepwalkers?
I have, long time ago.
Yeah,
ago.
It's insane. That's all I'll say. And I would love to watch that with you sometime. But there was a joke about Cujo in here, and Mick Garris is a super Stephen King fan and has directed some of his work. So there's a lot of fun. Well, Easter eggs in this movie.
There are.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I would say that my favorite one is one that we both know from our last coffee collaboration.
Welcome to Grind Time. Yeah, Freddy Krueger was in this movie. I had no idea. It's like you scripted this whole thing, Jen.
It's I knew it and I totally forgot. And we were re-watching this movie with the whole Mother Tongue team, and which was fantastic.
I want to work for you.
So we're watching the movie, and as everything starts to happen, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, don't say anything, it's gonna be so great. And so you have the bounty hunters, right? Who transform into whatever it is, whatever they see, or and in Critters 1, Ugg finds himself as
the rock star.
Oh my gosh.
Terrence Mann, the actor, and Johnny Steele, right?
Johnny Steele.
Yeah, is it Take Back the Night or something?
The power of the night, streets are calling,
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take
yeah.
Back the
And we
Night.
get to enjoy the because he's learning about Earth and sees the music video. And as a child who was raised on MTV, it's just really
right. It's speaking to your generation too.
Absolutely.
And that's how people learned about America, I guess. Well, and this one has a very other thing where Brad is showing, or Charlie, I guess, is introducing Playboy to the aliens and this is American culture, and he's not wrong. This is very. It's a very American film.
Absolutely. And the other bounty hunter, Lee, becomes the Playboy centerfold.
Which. That's the craziest scene in this movie.
It absolutely is.
Tell us what happens. Tell us what happens with Lee when she sees... Well, because she's originally looking at Charlie, and that's kind of a running joke of turning into Charlie. She did it in the last movie.
Right.
And Lee has never... She's a nothing face at the beginning. I'm saying she because she turns into the Playboy. I don't know what the genders are with this bounty hunter species.
Well, perhaps that's actually even more freeing that the gender doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I don't think it does, and I think it just they had a really cool sort of spiritual scene where Charlie's like, why is Lee still a nothing face, and Ugg was like,
Lee stays a nothing face. till he finds the right cell. Can't live in the wrong cell.
Basically because he found his true self, and that was the rock star.
Johnny
but
Steele,
Lee,
yeah.
Johnny Steele, and Lee still hasn't.
Lee's still searching.
Still searching
Still
to
searching,
be
like a lot of us are, right?
Right. I thought I was the Greenester bunny. I don't know if that was my true self. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah, but it's also nice to be able. It must be nice to try on different selves like that.
Absolutely. There's a lot of fluidity in
Yes.
gender here for
Yeah.
all of our friends that are yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and actually, that's a good segue. We are doing this as with the original season of Horror Movies with Friends. This is in conjunction with a charity for the Trevor Project, a charity near and dear to both of our hearts, an LGBTQ plus youth focused charity that helps suicide prevention, and it just helps with depression and just giving people a place to feel safe, which is what we're all looking for.
Absolutely. And I'm a mother. My children are genderqueer, and I think it's really important for them to feel supported by a greater community other than just your parents. Because let's be honest, even though I believe my kiddo loves me very much and confides in me, I do like the idea that they have other opportunities, other people that would listen to them.
Right.
Yeah, because didn't we all tell our parents everything when we were in high school? Not so much.
No. Sorry, Mom. Anyway, so Lee she hasn't found her true self, or they haven't found their true self yet, and is sort of vibing with Charlie. Charlie's the
Yes.
town drunk in the first movie, becomes a bounty hunter at the end of it. He goes with them.
Yes.
And he basically gets saved by Ugg in the very first scene. So he's kind of just bumbling, but he's helping. He's a nice guy. Ugg clearly likes him and is happy that he's there.
Yeah, I mean, he becomes a bounty hunter himself,
Right.
and a part of the team for sure.
Yeah, and as he says to Brad later, I'm a somebody up in space, and
Right.
I have a purpose, and that's really if you want to know a way to cure alcoholism, it's just in that sentence, right? Mm-hmm. It's just giving people a purpose and a place to belong, or just even a job in his point of view. And it was just
Right.
the world was not offering that to him in Grover's Bend.
Mm-hmm.
Times are tough. in
And it
Grover's
does
Bend.
at the end, because he becomes the sheriff.
Yeah, he auditioned.
I guess we're talking about the movie.
We're
There's
talking
no
about
spoilers
the
here.
yeah, spoiled.
Okay.
It's all been spoiled. Oh, and this movie, the perfect time to tell you where this movie is right in the middle of this episode. But it's actually not available to stream anywhere because it's just an exclusive, hard to find film. You have to climb a mountain to find it, or pay $2.99 on Vudu, Amazon Prime, or wherever you rent your movies. That's where you can find it, or you can come over to Oakland, borrow the DVD from Jen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we got on the special features here? We have. It just says surround sound. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Critters. Great.
There's no Blu-ray remastered edition of Critters 2, unfortunately.
Not
yeah.
yet. This is the start of the campaign right
Yes.
here. You heard it here. Mick Garris, we have your back. Scott Grimes, this is for you. Barry Corbin, this is for you. That's all I know. There's a Lindsay Parker. Don't know who she is, but I just remember that name from the credits.
Absolutely.
So Grover's Bend, which is fictional.
Fictional,
Which is,
absolutely.
well, we're going to go to the end right now, but there's an end. At the very end, it thanks the citizens of Grover's Bend for their cooperation and participation in the making of the film.
True story.
Yeah, it's a true story, Critters 2. And I looked up Grover's Bend. They had me. I was like, oh, where's Grover's Bend? I think that's in Indiana. That's what I said out loud, like a fool. And no, it's a fictional town. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
Critter-
it's pretty fantastic.
well, and we lost the Lee thread because we're building up to the craziest thing that I saw in this movie. She sees the Playboy magazine that I brought up 10 minutes ago. There's a Playboy mag.
Well, she's gonna turn into Lee, and then Lee's like, no, and
Charlie, yes.
or Charlie, yeah, and then so Charlie finds a Playboy magazine on the road that tosses out of a Jeep, which is still part of the entire story.
It's an important plot point. Yes.
Yeah, it really is. There was some Playboys and I believe some other beverages inside that Jeep, but so he doesn't want to be. Charlie does not want Lee to turn into him. So he shields himself with the Playboy centerfold, which is what Lee turns into.
And how does she turn it? Like, boob first. Like, it's just an eruption
Boobs.
of bosom.
Behinds.
Oh, behinds.
All of that. Yeah, everything. And that the woman who plays Lee is amazing. Like, her facial expressions are absolutely fantastic. In fact, I think that she is my favorite version of Lee, 100%.
I was really sad when she did turn into the nerd, although that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I say nerd, like, not in a bad sense. That's just clearly what his, like, archetype was. Like, big glasses. He worked at Hungry Heifer, which we'll talk about. Yeah, she brought an energy to the role, and, well, her body, she was just all out there. And this is
I think she has, like, basically, she's busted out of all of her clothes.
Yes.
As they're walking through the meadow to go to town to kill all the Krites.
Yeah, she's, like, wearing, like, a G-string or something, and that's it. And, like, then we see her later, and she actually has an outfit. Like, I'm not sure where. They just had an extra somewhere.
I think Charlie's carrying her clothes. Like, hey, Lee, like, put these clothes on before we get into town. You know?
Yeah, like, it's Grover Benders would not be okay with that.
They would absolutely not.
I feel like they might be too okay with that. Like, you're going to turn away Lee? She's great.
And the town didn't even actually know about the Krites, because in the first movie, the entire film, or the whole alien invasion part happens at the farm. So the town just knows about, and they do meet the bounty hunters, but they don't actually meet the Krites.
This town has a little bit of selective amnesia, selective memory, or they just don't want to admit that aliens came and killed some people in their town.
Absolutely.
And attacked. And it reminds, like, you watch movies like this, and I'm normally like, why is everyone so stupid? Why wouldn't we just believe that this happened? But then you look outside and you're like, oh yeah, okay. We have a powerful sense of denial in this country. It's like that's our superpower.
That is
denial. And I'm not going to deny myself some nice Kill Krites coffee.
What better way to start off your year in the spring season?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm wearing shorts.
Kill Krites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Important detail about the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
She has the staple from the magazine. Like,
yes,
that's the best little detail. Like, the movie is being so sort of sleazy in terms of, like, literally having a mountains of breasts come out of, like, the costume.
Right.
But then it has that little detail of, like, because she's looking at a magazine, there's the staple, and then she has to remove it. And I don't know. That was just the cherry on top of that moment.
There are so many, like, really amazing moments in this entire film. So you know how, like, when you watch that oh my goodness, what's the name of that movie? The one where Richard Dreyfuss is making the mashed potato mountain.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So there's another, like, food moment inside of this film that when it like right before it was getting ready to happen, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this my entire childhood. I've been thinking about, like, this scene. And that's the scene where the junkyard dealer, like, he finds the eggs and then he sells them, of course, to the old woman with the daycare.
Nana. Yeah. We don't know her name, right. Nana, yeah.
And then he's feeding his dog. So he opens up this canned food of dog food and he puts it out, and then he, like, licks the spoon. And I think, like, I have been, every time I open up a can of chili or, like, refried beans and I spoon it out, like, I've always, like, licked the spoon thinking about that moment and how gross it is.
It definitely elicits that, ugh! But because, it's a really gross looking, it looks honestly just like a Hungry Heifer burger. But, like, do you do that with cat and dog food too?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No.
So there is a barrier or a wall.
I like the illusion of disgusting, apparently.
I like the illusion too. Real disgusting. We don't want that. Like that's another perfect cherry on top moment, because it's just fun anyway. Like, it's just so aggressively gross, like splattering down Chili Dog's food, which is a great, cute name for a dog. But Chili Dog, I'm sorry. This is for you. I would pour it, but this is too good to pour out. So, and also, I didn't like you that much, Chili Dog.
But that junkyard man, like, even after, like, there's that wonderful scene where he walks by and he's, like, drinking out of his cup and he's like, Easter sucks.
Easter sucks.
That's my favorite line. Like, or it's like, Easter is shit. Or like, it's just like, and that's the tagline for this season of Easter sucks. I'm with him. Like, he got fleeced by Nana, all right? $20 for a bunch of alien eggs?
Absolutely.
You gotta haggle better than that. I mean, Nana used the church card, right? He's like,
Absolutely.
oh, are you gonna really charge for the church? Like, because they bring them to the biddies to paint for the Easter egg hunt for the children. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess, well, I mean, Wesley sold it cheap too. Like,
Right.
Wesley was the douche who actually, I thought, my aunt said this while we were watching, that he had the same hair as the critters. Like, he had the mop head. It looked exactly like the critters. He just was
Right.
blonde.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe he evolved from a critter. We don't know.
He's a cretin.
Ah, okay.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A creeper, a cretin. Yes, he's a dick.
He's total asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
completely.
very doesn't take no for an answer with Megan Morgan, our love interest for Bradley Brown. But I'm just bouncing all over the
It's
place.
kind of
but,
interesting
yeah.
because he does speaking of going back to transformations, like he
Yes.
does kind of redeem himself towards the end.
He does.
Like he freaks out and tries to take off and ditch the whole town until he can't save himself. But then he goes back and he really and he steps up. He steps up to try and
he's like the second
save
to
the people.
He's the second to volunteer for like Brad's plan of like luring them with hungry heifer burgers, which is a great plan. Or I guess the Polar Burgers is like the overarching corporate thing that owns Hungry Heifer. It's like confusing. There's two different burger
Right.
things.
It's the Hormel of
Yeah.
Grover's Bend.
Yes, the Hormel. I think that's where all the money comes from, or like all the jobs and money is from the meat industry in Grover's Bend.
Right. And who doesn't want to shove sticks of dynamite in hamburger patties?
That is something we probably should have done. Yeah. That's my favorite. That's another one of my favorite parts because they're just it's really aggressively just shoving phallic objects into meat and then and I'm wondering why they're covering it with stuff and I'm like, oh, they're hiding it so the critters don't get wise to seeing the dynamite.
Yeah.
But they don't know what it is. But yeah, it's so, and it's just this is a factory, but they're just grabbing what seems to be fully made burgers already. Because I think the buns had burgers in them, and it was wait.
Some of them did.
Yeah, it was wait, shouldn't it just be the buns, or shouldn't it just be the patty? I don't know, but it's just all that, and they have all the fries.
Right.
I love that. It's like a murder scene of fast food.
It was, yeah, and that's in the warehouse. But then there is the other murder scene of fast food where the bounty hunters actually make it into town and go to the Hungry Heifer, and it's invaded by critters, and that's where we get to meet Bald Larry.
And Bald Larry is the one.
He has a name.
I actually didn't know that. He gets one of the best lines in the film.
Bitchin'. After he gets his hair blown off by Lee.
He likes how he looks. How many of us, when we go bald, are bitchin'?
Oh man, and I looked for the literal translate because apparently they created a critter's language.
What?
And I was looking at, I'm some true believer nerd has actually looked and found this language, and it's not true because I was really because he says he's Weeza, and I really want that. Maybe that's will be my second critter tattoo.
Weeza. I that's a much more in one because you'd have to translate it for them.
Everybody's what's that? No one would know.
This movie sort of forgot that they talk. The first movie has a lot more, I think, critter language, and then this one just has bitchin', and then at the end, when Ugg sort of tricks them all with cheeseburgers, no bones,
Yes.
and when I was first watching, I was like, wait, that's too convenient. But then, when he turned back into Ugg, that was great. That was great.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that maybe perhaps there needs to be the can has cheeseburger meme. With critters instead
I think
of
so.
cats.
I agree. Someone better than I. Maybe Jessica could do that.
Ooh.
Sorry, Jessica, if you don't want to do that. Commercial break.
There must be hundreds of them.
Critters 2, the main course.
Let's see. Let's talk about Bradley fucking Brown. All right, the hero.
Back in town.
Yeah, it rhymes and everything.
Yeah.
Brad Brown back in town. Brad Brown back in town. I'm gonna do it until you join me. Brad Brown back in town.
Brad Brown back in town.
Brad. Okay, we did it. Front
Oh my
page
gosh.
news of the Grover's Bend Gazette. Yeah, he's back in town. He now has a stud earring. He has a mullet.
He's from the big city, Kansas City.
Yeah, the big city,
The
Kansas.
big city of Kansas
Oh yeah,
City.
they asked which one, Kansas or St. Louis, right? Like
Right.
there's two. What did he say? I think he's from the Kansas
He
side.
was worried that she was trying to find out where, like, as a journalist.
Oh, yeah, and
and
he
trying
was-
to, like, harass my family as they've been harassed this whole time.
Yeah, they had to
you know?
move to Kansas City because it was like too many people were giving him shit for saving the world. Can you imagine
Absolutely.
that? Yeah, and so Bradley Brown probably has had a lot of therapy, or a lot of repression.
Repression.
Yeah, it's more of that because he doesn't. He's like basically no, that was nothing. I just blacked out a
It
whole
wasn't
movie.
real. It wasn't real.
Can you? I'm surprised how normal he is if that's how he actually thinks, because he was a hero in that movie. I remember watching the first Critters and being like, wow, he saves the day every single time. He's
Absolutely.
a badass. He's a great friend to a drunk for some reason. And I'm not being disparaging to the drunk. It's just sort of weird that he's like 9 years old and the guy's 35 and they're like best buddies. But it's like, it's somehow charming. The movie makes that work.
It is.
Yeah.
Charlie works at the family farm.
Yes.
I think that his Brad's dad hired him out of probably just to be nice.
Yeah,
so he has
sort of a
something
little-
to do.
And I think maybe because that was the only friend that either of them had. And even Brad, now that we're like 6 years or I guess it's been 2 years, he is just saying that, yeah, he was my only friend, or they both said that in separate points. It was really
They
cute when they
did.
had their reunion.
Yeah, when they lost each other, it was really sad. It was really sad.
There was a moment where I thought we lost Charlie. But Charlie never dies.
That's right. That's right. Because they hurt us so hard when we lose Lee in the alleyway.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, is Lee gone forever? There's a Critters 3, and is there a 4?
Yeah, Lee's gone forever. Lee gets eaten. You guys, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you this. I mean, if you have not, hopefully you've seen this movie already.
It's better just to watch us talk about it, right? Maybe. I don't know. Well,
And it's so heartbreaking because Lee and Ugg are soulmates, and Ugg like completely loses himself and turns back into a green face.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really liked that. Because Ugg is so certain of who he is and
Yeah.
of being Terrence Mann rock star. And then when we loses Lee, who has just figured out who I think they were.
Exactly.
As the Playboy centerfold that we all wish we were. No.
Except for the brief moment where Lee almost transforms into Freddy Krueger.
God, that to me, it's such a great fucking moment, but I really wanted it to happen.
Right?
I want that scene. I wonder if they filmed it and they're like, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, Charlie's... Well, that might... Right? Like,
Yeah.
they'd probably get in trouble for that one.
Oh, yeah, I think
But,
so.
But, like, fortunately, like, Charlie still has that Playboy in his back pocket, so...
Well, Charlie was
stops-
not getting rid of that one.
Stops Lee from turning into Freddy Krueger.
That's a very useful Playboy magazine.
Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah.
Who knew? Could save the world with the Playboy magazine.
I want to see the version, though, where Lee turns into Freddy Krueger and then they just, like, he leads the band of critters against the whole town.
Are you proposing a Critters multiverse?
I am. Yes,
think?
I am. Like,
know.
we've seen every other sequel of Elm Street and reboots and all these things, and Critters too, right? There's a 3 or 4, whatever. I haven't even seen that yet. But let's merge universes. It's like the Lego movie. Let's do that, but with Critters and Freddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, actually, I haven't seen 3 or 4 either.
Of
There's like
Elm Street?
Critters.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's 3 and 4, and then I guess there was also like a TV series, and
Wow.
I mean, there's another either the TV series or another film is called Critters Attack.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
even
yeah.
a female critter that comes on the scene
Oh,
at
good.
some point, you know,
That's good.
who I think is good instead of evil, which is interesting.
Is she vegetarian?
I hope so. You know, Nana would approve. I mean, you're scared of the critters because they'll eat you.
Yes.
But man, no one's messing with Nana though in this. I mean, she's like the toughest lady in town.
And she's very like pushing that vegan agenda, and I appreciate that, especially in 1988. She's early on the train here.
Absolutely.
She's
doing jazzercise with the children walking up the street in her tights.
That's the first
Fantastic.
time we see her, and then the other time we see the kids just licking glue while she's talking about, Brad, that's the red meat is the worst thing you could do to your body, and it probably is.
Yeah.
Well, maybe booze or like heroin is worse than red meat, but I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Or Nana. And Nana makes a spinach cashew cake for Brad at the end. But yeah, like there's multiple lines in this movie where it's like anti-meat eating, and then the meat though is kind of what saves the day. Although I guess it doesn't actually vanquish them.
It doesn't. Yeah,
it sort of
it
makes
gets
them
really close, and you really do think like because they lure all of them, you
Yes.
know, with the help of Bug.
Yes.
Because he transformed into the largest critter.
Yeah, the leader.
In existence.
Who's this leader critter? Yeah.
Right, exactly. You know, and really like sells them the cheeseburgers because they don't have bones, right? And they go in, and then the factory explodes. It's probably like
all the effects went.
All
into
the
that.
effects went into the explosion of.
Yeah.
What is it? Polar burger.
Polar burger. Yeah, and now we are going to explode using all of our effects budget. Ready, set. An explosion of flavor. Kill KRITES.
Kill KRITES.
Kill KRITES. Kill more KRITES.
KRITES.
Let's see. There's so much to talk about in Critters 2. There's 90 minutes of film, but 3 hours of conversation, and we're only just wading in. Like,
Absolutely.
what else are we missing here? I mean, there's a bunch in terms of. Well, I think we have to talk about Charlie's sacrifice, which to me, I mean, he basically saves the day after part 1 when we think they've all been destroyed.
Well, also because he came back this big hero,
Yes.
right? And he was a bounty hunter, and then we think that all of the critters have exploded, but they haven't. They form a giant critter ball.
Yeah, like a meatball.
The largest critter, like larger than a house, and they roll. I think probably one of the scariest moments is when they roll over somebody, and then there's the skeleton shaking.
I'll steal what my uncle said. Meals on wheels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was my favorite. I love seeing a good skeleton and just skin being pulled off.
100%. 100%.
Every movie needs that, I think.
Well, and Charlie takes off, you know, and
Oh,
they're disappointed because even like, you know, the jerk stays.
Yeah, Wesley
You know,
stays.
He stays, but Charlie leaves, and so they kind of think that he's a coward again.
But he had a plan. He was going to that spaceship that we saw earlier. And yeah, like to me it was a really cool thing where it's like this I had one theory about the meatball of critters, and one is that like maybe all the like ketchup or the meat is what sort of a binding agent, like a meatloaf, you know, like a critter loaf, only it's like a
Absolutely.
circular, because they're all circular, so that sort of makes sense. And then the other thing, it felt like I'm making this up because it's not a nod to the first movie, but the best scene in the first movie is like the bowling ball where he just crashes and destroys, and it's just like this is now a bowling ball of KRITES.
Isn't there a bowling ball scene too where one of the critters like rolls through town and then knocks the people over?
Yes,
their
with like pins, exactly.
Yeah, so they couldn't leave the bowling montage alone. It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. And I think my only note about that, it's the only time where Brad isn't smart. And it's when they're driving away from I mean, they're actually trying to prevent it from like running over the church, which is where
That's right.
everything's going.
They're like ramming it with the truck.
And then they fall over, and then for some reason they decide to run where the ball is headed.
do.
It's like, oh, let's go where we're gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe it's solidarity.
I don't know. And everyone stays there, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone just stays in the church, even though there's this huge critter ball rolling towards them.
Well, isn't that what would happen if you're a part of the church, right? Like, oh, there's like we have to stay in the church. Like, we'll be safe here, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's probably the safest place in Grover's Bend.
I guess. Well, I don't know. Like during the mass, or, you know, the resurrection.
The church scene with the Easter egg hunt.
That's the whole reason we're here.
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely.
Did that change your childhood?
It did. Well, like one of my favorite scenes is where, you know, where Nana gives her like the carob bunny. When I had no idea what a carob bunny was when I was a child. I think I had the pleasure of eating carob when I was
The pleasure, yes.
the pleasure. It's not true. Carob. I don't like carob.
But Follow Your Heart in the Valley has a really good carob shake, so don't sleep on it. But anyway, sorry.
Okay, all right. Sorry, not to diss all carobs. But
Only some carobs.
only some carobs. But there's this part where, like, like where she gives the little girl who's like the love interest sister, younger sister,
Yes.
gives her a carob bunny, which is like, oh, thanks. Is it a treat? It's not a treat. But then also gives her one of the eggs, and then and it's really hot. And okay, this is probably part that doesn't make any sense, but I don't care. Like, it's really hot because it's like springtime. And the little girl's in bed with no covers because it's hot.
That's what she
says.
says.
But then she puts the bunny and the egg next to the heating vent. Why is the heater on?
That's why she's hot.
Right? I know. They left the heater on, apparently. And so there's this part where, like, you can see the carob bunny starting to, like, droop and drip, and the egg starts to move because it's going to hatch. And a critter does hatch.
It does hatch. And we get she breaks the first rule of sleeping where you dangle body parts around.
Yes, absolutely.
Never dangle body parts over beds or anything. No dangling. Children, no dangling.
Yeah, if your parents put your bed where basically like all three edges are a part where you could potentially dangle
That's really
limb,
dangerous.
I don't know if they love you as much as they could have if they would have shoved it against the wall and protected you.
How many different ways of dangling does your child have, or do your children have right now? Do they have 3, or are you a bad parent?
I was a bad sister because I would always have my sisters sleep on the edge in case, something did come to get us. They would get my sisters first. They're probably going to watch this. I'm sorry. I love you.
So you say like you weren't fazed at all by Exorcist watching it as 4 years old, but you're like sacrificing your sister in it. So no wonder you felt safe. It's like you have to go through her first.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Yeah, and the critter sort of basically it plays fake out like chicken. We think it's gonna get the kid a couple times, and then the dad just steps on it,
and it's so gross.
Yeah,
it's like all gooey and
kind of looks like how.
Oh,
it's kind of melted. Yeah, I don't know if we got that.
Absolutely. I wonder what some of this tastes like in my coffee. It might make it a little too sweet, but I think I'm going to kind of go for it.
Well, I was going to try a critter peep, which I'm going to go like this. Oh, that's not how we do it. There it is. Oh, I don't think we can. Yeah, there we go. Critter peep. And it's going in. It would have melted when it was hot. Now it's just going to float.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Oh, that's good. Gotta get every bit of the chocolate that we both have just been touching all day. So I just,
for reals.
Hopefully it didn't just kill us
nice
all.
And ooey and gooey and gross. Just like there's a lot of really squishy, gross scenes. Like even at the Easter egg hunt where the little boys, like, they're all painting all these critter eggs, and you're like, when is it going to attack them? And one kid, like, shoves it off the side of the table, and it drops, and this goop just starts spitting out of it. It's so disgusting.
Yeah, it, like, has, like, a motor. It's sort of like...
Absolutely.
The pulsating goo, which, for people out there, everyone knows I am a sucker for pulsating goo.
Yeah.
You, like, literally had an Yeah.
I just learned this word. I learned the word squib, which I think is like the device for blood gushing.
Oh,
but
okay.
Could it also be pussy goo?
Oh, yeah.
For a squib?
Sure.
I think so, right?
Yeah. Isn't a squib also like a wizard that can't perform magic in Harry Potter? Yeah. Our sources say yes. Yeah, the owl.
The butterfly agrees.
The butterfly agrees. Yeah. Well, the butterfly is the real hero of this episode. I don't know, like Megan. Yeah, we sort of just called her a love interest. She has like, there is one part of this movie that I am not okay with, and it's when Brad gets sort of rescued by her. And she, like you were talking about the interview, sort of like, because she's sort of a reporter for the local magazine because her dad works for the paper. And he's like, you're like Jimmy Olsen with breasts.
Yeah.
And it was just like, even the movie like was ashamed of it. It just sort of like paused, he made a face, and then it just cut. And Brad, I mean, we make mistakes, but that was a regrettable decision for Brad.
Completely.
And we still get a kiss at the end, although there's a couple of false starts. But like, what also made that weird to me was that he kind of, if I'm casting Superman, I might cast Scott Grimes as Jimmy Olsen. Like, if we're just going straight from the comic, like it's just a kid, a redhead kid. That's sort of, he's like perfect. Maybe that was his like audition. He really wanted to be in Superman 4.
Yeah, and it's great. Like his mullet is fantastic. As he's this young adult. You know, I guess he's still in high school because he must be down for like spring break kind of a thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's Easter vacation.
Grandmother.
Easter vacation,
Yeah.
which it's not a thing, at least wasn't a thing for me. It was just spring break. But I think it initially, like, that's what that week was. Did you have Easter vacation?
I'm sure it still is Easter vacation in Kansas.
In Kansas,
It might, just not in California.
We don't
no.
get to, we call it spring break!
Right, just like we call this a spring blend.
Yeah, we're very California over here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, I thought he looked pretty good. I thought he pulled off the mullet, to be honest.
He did!
I was there for Brad.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it was great. Let's see, who else? They switched Hank, the sheriff, on us in this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
They found a good replacement.
They did. And I think, like, his mannerisms and the way that he talked about everything and, like, just reminded me of, like, my grandfather. My grandfather just would always say things like, that's louder than a cow pissing on a flat rock, and he was from Texas. So,
Your grandfather actually said that?
He says there's plenty of things, like.
Jen's grandfather is a cartoon. Yeah.
just like Hank the sheriff. So maybe, like, part of me as a kid was being like, there's Grandpa, you know?
Yeah, well, Harv. Yeah, well, and did your grandfather tuck in his undershirt into his boxers?
Ooh. I don't think
That's
so.
a move that Harv definitely pulls off in this movie. Mm-hmm. He's sitting there. It sort of felt like he was probably drinking in the morning, watching game shows or watching his daytime shows because he lost his job, I guess, after the original movie.
That's right. That's right. The town no longer believed in him because he said that the aliens were real.
And he sort of blamed Brad, I think, for that, too.
I think he did. He lost the election because sheriffs are elected.
Yes.
Right?
Except in the case of Charlie, when you just get flipped it at the end of the movie. You don't have to actually... in movies, that's how a sheriff happens. You just get handed it by the other person.
Like a deputy, too. Like, oh, the other one died, so here's...
Yeah.
You got this.
I think that is probably how it happens in real life, and that's a bummer. That's the problem. Yeah, Harv has a very Charlie-like sort of moment too, where because Harv is like, I'm leaving, I'm gonna do the smart thing and just get out of town when the KRITES come, but he does come back and he gets to have the Terminator scene where he just kills a bunch of KRITES and he's just like, I'm back.
He does. He's fantastic. There's wonderful moments in this movie for sure.
Harv is one of my favorites, as we both melt out here.
Yeah, is he like the moral like compass? Because it's like a fantasy. It's like, what would a real person think in this situation? And I think
that's maybe what he is.
I think that Harv is that person for me.
That like with an itchy trigger finger, because he just shoots up in the air like every scene. Like whenever he needs attention, he just boom. Like in the church, he just blew a hole in the church because they were arguing about like saving the town, and then he did it later when it all blew up. He was just like, I'm
the
just
celebration shots.
I don't. What happens to those bullets? They come down, don't they?
Yeah, they gotta come down, right? They don't disappear.
That's the end credit scene where it just like lands on a poor soul. Oh God.
That little critter is just floating around in your coffee.
I will not lie, it doesn't taste as good with a melted peep in the coffee. So don't try it home. Or maybe if it was hotter, it would have melted and sort of. But now it's sort of congealed.
Oh, we got a little critter here.
Oh, we do have a little critter here. Let's get.
Hey, Patti.
We got Patti, who is off camera, so it's like sort of magic. There's coffee. Do you want coffee?
Oh.
Ooh,
wow.
I am. Oh, the stomach is growling, so that is the cue to talk about Hungry Heifer. Because you mentioned before I had seen it that this has one of the all-time great jingles.
It does.
And
it really does. I thought it was like a real song, like a real place as a child, and like I would get this song stuck in my head, as I'm eating my dog food off my spoon.
Wait, I thought you didn't eat the dog food.
Right.
Oh, we got to get our story straight here. Well, I think just on the last question I have is sort of more on the, like, I want to get the Easter of it all here, and like that this is you watch it every year.
Absolutely.
Is a family movie.
I
mean,
well,
there's nudity, but
I try and get them to watch the movie with me, but I often find it's just me and a couple of dogs on the couch.
And some beer.
And some beer. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think I will have a sip of beer myself, and I think this is, Jen, unless you have any other critter confessions. Ooh, for our critter convention, that is mentioned in the film. Which, is there a critter convention? I feel like we got to start that.
I think that one of the things that I discovered was there's so much cool critters like merchandise out there that I had no idea existed. And like there was one with like somebody out there, and I'm sorry that I don't remember what the site was, sells the critter ball on like an ice cream cone as a t-shirt. And I'm thinking,
I was like wanted
that
it.
is amazing.
I wanted it as an ice cream cone.
Right, yeah. But I think there needs to be more critter stuff, and I think that it's a fun movie. It's one of the only movies that celebrates Easter in a way that's that a person like myself, like an atheist, can watch and enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's fairly accurate to the holiday.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to see an Easter bunny thrown through a church,
Yes.
look no further. Jen, thank you so much for I'm going to say joining me, but I actually sort of joined you. I traveled to here.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this film.
Oh, no, I wasn't trying
movie.
to get a compliment, but I'll take it. I'll live off that for a couple of days. But this has like been a fun journey with you, and very stoked to have more of the Kill KRITES, which is available on Mother Tongue's website, on the shop, and also you can come to my house as well, and we will watch it with Critters 2. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so happy Easter, everyone.
Yep, happy Easter.
And enjoy family, enjoy church, enjoy chocolate, enjoy...
Paint some eggs.
Yeah, there we go, eggs.
Paint some eggs, eat a cheeseburger, and blow up an alien. Yeah.
That is the equation, the recipe for Easter, and you know what? I think it's about time for that hamburger.
I think so too.
What the hell was in you?
Hey, little buddies, come gather round. This here's the very best eating in town. A hungry heifer's place to be. A lip licking good, you can take it from me. Try a bowl of burgers, some buffalo chips. Wash it all down with a moose shake. You pat your tummy and smack your lips. Suck for hours on your fingertips. At the Hungry Heifer, we won't give you a bum steer.
How's that song go?
At the Hungry
Heifer, we won't give you.
That's hilarious.
Just like that.